The Mirror and the Light Wolf Hall Trilogy. Customer reviews: 4.3 out of 5 stars. 11 customer reviews. Amazon bestsellers rank: number 25 inches books. See top 100 inches books. Number 1 inch biographical historical fiction. Number 1 inch Renaissance literary criticism. Number 1 inch biographical fiction. Review: The Wolf Hall Trilogy is probably the greatest historical fiction accomplishment of the past decade. The New York Times Book Review: The Mirror and the Light is the triumphant capstone to Mantle Trilogy on Thomas Cromwell, the son of a blacksmith who rose to become the consigliere of Henry VIII. The world is blotted out as you are enveloped in the sweep of a story rich with conquest, conspiracy and mazy human psychology. Mantle is often grouped with writers of historical fiction, but the more apt, and useful, comparison might be with Robert Caro, the biographer of Robert Moses and Lyndon Johnson, the great anatomizer of political power. Peril Sergal, The New York Times. The searing finale of Hilary Mantel magnificent trilogy. Mantel is clear-eyed yet compassionate in depicting her coldly calculating, covertly idealistic protagonist and the equally complex people he encounters in his rise and fall from power. Dense with resonant metaphors and alive with discomforting ideas, The Mirror and the Light provides a fittingly Shakespearean resolution to Mantle magisterial work. The Washington Post. Wolf Hall, a decade ago, was a sensational character study that electrified an often visited slice of history. The Mirror and the Light marks a triumphant end to a spellbinding story. NPR. Cromwell has a depth at once Shakespearean and modernist. He could be Hamlet, or the title character of one of Freud's case studies. The dissolution of Cromwell coincides with his unmooring in time. One moment he is sucked into his childhood. The next, he is hurled into the sphere of the angels. Indeed, the afterlife occasions some of the loveliest writing in this beautifully written book. By the end of these 3 books, we have been with Cromwell as he lived or revisited most of his life, and we haven't exhausted his mystery. Judith Shulevitz, The Atlantic. Breathtaking. The plot here is shaped as meticulously as any thriller. With this trilogy, Mantle has redefined what the historical novel is capable of. Taken together, her Cromwell novels are, for my money, the greatest English novels of the century. Someone give the Booker Prize judges the rest of the year off. Stephanie Merritt, The Guardian. Is it as good as the first 2 books? Yes. Is it a masterpiece? Yes. Mantle may be unique among modern novelists in her ability to make the past as viscerally compelling as the present. A sensualist, she recreates an age rife with beauty and dread. She recreates the wicked, bawdy humor of the age, and her action scenes rival Shakespeare. She is an intricate and flawless plotter, but her overriding genius is for characterization. The Los Angeles Times. A masterpiece. A novel of epic proportions that is every bit as thrilling, propulsive, darkly comic and stupendously intelligent as its predecessors. The trilogy is complete and it is magnificent. Alexandra Harris, The Guardian. Brilliant from that opening sentence. And see the Queen head is severed, he walks away, axes and the shadow of death are everywhere. Mantle takes what is known of Cromwell, his meteoric rise, his autodidactic scholarship, his reformist tendencies, and weaves them into a masterful portrait of a man at midlife, facing up to his past. The Boston Globe. A stunning capstone to an epic that both engrossing history and an unsurpassed literary achievement. The Mirror and the Light is a diadem of riches, binding together the complex pieces of Cromwell character while leading inexorably toward the scaffold. With the trilogy now complete, Mantle cements her position as one of our greatest literary stylists and innovators. Star Tribune. Minneapolis. Majestic and often breathtakingly poetic. What The Mirror and the Light offers, even more than the 2 previous volumes, is engulfing, total sensory immersion in a world. As with the most powerful and enduring historical fictions, the book grips the reader most tightly when, as is often the case, the writing comes as close to poetry as prose ever may. Simon Sharma, The Financial Times. A masterpiece. A novel of epic proportions that is every bit as thrilling, propulsive, darkly comic and stupendously intelligent as its predecessors. The trilogy is complete and it is magnificent. Alexandra Harris, The Guardian. This is rich, full-bodied fiction. Indeed, it might well be the best of the trilogy simply because there is more of it, a treasure on every page. The brisk, present-tense narration makes you feel as though you were watching these long-settled events live, Via a shaky camera phone, Mantle has elevated historical fiction as an art form at a time when the general movement of literature has been towards the margins. She has taken us to the dark heart of history. The Times London. Fascinating. What Mantle does, often brilliantly, is put movement and muscle on the bare bones of what known. Cromwell bundled contradictions? A polyglot scholar with bruised knuckles, as ruthless in business as he was benevolent at home? Or more than Mirror and Light? The real, indelible life entertainment weekly. The Mirror and the Light features the embroiled, ruthless, visionary hero of Mantle masterwork Trilogy, the endlessly compelling Thomas Cromwell. Every page is rich with insight, the soul-deep characterization and cutting observational skill that make Mantle Trilogy such a singular accomplishment. USA Today. Hilary Mantel has written an epic of English history that does what the Aeneid did for the Romans and War and Peace for the Russians. As Cromwell approaches his end, cast off by an ungrateful master, Mantle pulls together the strands of his life into a sublime tapestry. The Telegraph UK. Cromwell is a character for the ages. The stunning success of the novels is in large part the result of Ms. Mantle's skill in fashioning a voice and persona that, while never anachronistic, make Cromwell seem eerily contemporary. Mantle's genius is to make his 16th-century instincts, such as a willingness to decapitate anyone standing in his path, seem as plausible as his more familiar qualities. The Economist. The Mirror and the Light bears the stamp of Mantle genius. It a richly hued mural of meticulous research, enthralling characters, and expressionistic language. She is our literary Michelangelo. In Cromwell, a striver who will do anything to survive, she lets us glimpse the invention of modernity teeming with pageantry, intrigue, sex, and salvation. The Mirror and the Light reflects the looming tensions of every era, between those who hoard power and those who crave it. O Magazine. This huge canvas, expertly painted as always, offers many of the pleasures you come to expect of Mantle and her Cromwell books. Cromwell execution is a brilliantly imagined moment. The New Yorker. Another masterpiece of historical fiction. The Mirror and the Light is superb, right to the last crimson drop. A complex, insightful exploration of power, sex, loyalty, friendship, religion, class and statecraft. A stunning conclusion to one of the great trilogies of our times. Independent UK. Mantle prose is steadily and quietly luminous, occasionally delivering unforgettable surprises. This is a worthy conclusion to what is undoubtedly one of the great historical fictions of the age, sustaining clarity, tension and depth with a rare consistency. New Statesman UK. Mantle Trilogy? Historically scrupulous, but quaveringly alert to more recent resonances? Is one of the key achievements in English literature. The Spectator UK. In Mantle hands, the story of the Tudors loses all its heavy familiarity and starts to feel like a custom-built vehicle for her muscular prose and savage wit, not to mention her lifelong concern with violence and evil, religion and ghosts. The page-by-page texture of the writing in The Mirror and the Light is just as rich and interesting as ever, the pacing and the distribution of scenes are just as lively, and the details every bit as funny. Mantle's prodigious feat is to have given Cromwell another face, one that he might even have recognized as his own. She has cast a dazzling new light onto the tarnished mirror of the past. TLS UK. Magisterial. Mantle's craft shines at the sentence level and in a deep exploration of her themes. The series' first 2 books won the Booker Prize. The third, rich with memory and metaphor? Maybe even better. Publishers Weekly. The longed-for final volume in Mantle Magnificent Trilogy is also a stupendously knowledgeable, empathic, witty, harrowing, and provocative novel of power and its distortions. Astute, strategic, sly, funny, poignant, and doomed, Cromwell rules these vivid pages, yet every character and setting resonates, and Mantle virtuoso, jousting dialogue is exhilarating. A timeless saga of the burden of rule, social treacheries, and the catastrophic cost of indulging a raving despot. Booklist starred review. Click the link in the description for more details and discounts.